Hello, my name is Dany Watkins, and in this video I will be presenting my plan for a K to 2nd grade Art Day program for a library. This program is designed to get children excited about art and get them to start thinking about art in ways they may not have thought of previously and help build their confidence. To begin the program, welcome the children and any parents or guardians that may be attending along with them by using some version of the following welcome script, substituting your name and the name of your library where appropriate. Hi everyone, welcome to the library. My name is Dany and I'm so glad you could all be here to join us for Art Day. Today I'm going to read with you some cool books about art and different artists, and we're even going to get to make some masterpieces of our own. So are you ready to get started? Once you are done welcoming everyone to your program, start things off with a small opening activity meant to get the children to start thinking creatively. Pass around plain paper name badges and encourage the children who are able to write their names on their badges themselves using their favorite colors of crayons and markers. Encourage them to think freely and to decorate their name badges as they will. Also be sure to assist the younger children who may need help writing their names. Once everyone has had an opportunity to create their name badge, being sure not to take up too much time with this small activity, have everyone go around and introduce themselves, leading by example and gesturing to your own name tag when it comes your turn. After the name badge activity, explain to your guests that you will now be reading the first book of the program. Do this by using an aside such as the one that follows. Alright, now that everyone's been introduced, it's time to read our first book. The first book we're going to read is The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. This is a really fun book about a girl who learns how to make art even when she's not feeling inspired, and she does it in really creative ways, and I'm super excited to share this book with you. The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. Illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good jab. "There." Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper towards Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. "Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name." The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn. Her dot, all framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that." She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted. A red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with the yellow, she discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting. Lots of little dots in many colors. "If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too." Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on a bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Please, sign it." Wasn't it great how Vashti could create such beautiful art using just one shape? Now we're going to try and do the same thing as she did, by using our imagination and some bingo daubers to create our own dot artwork together. For the first interactive art activity, pass out bingo daubers of different colors to the children and lay out 1 or 2 large pieces of blank paper on the floor for them to use as a canvas. Encourage the children to work collaboratively to make beautiful art on the big pieces of paper that will then be hung in the library for everyone to see after the program. Make sure that the children are sharing the bingo daubers equally and that everyone has a chance to use the colors they want. Remind the children that they don't need to worry about making good art or being good at drawing. They only need to remember to express themselves, like Vashti did in the book you just read. Plan to spend about 20 to 25 minutes on this activity. The children may want to do longer, and you can accommodate that depending on how long your program is. But just remember that there is another book and another art activity after this one that you want to make room for, and give the children plenty of time to complete. After the bingo dauber art is finished, set the pieces of paper aside to dry as you prepare the kids for the next part of the program, which will be a storytelling presentation. Introduce the presentation with an aside, such as the following. Great job, everyone. The art we made is beautiful, and it's going to look so cool hanging up on the library walls. Now, we made this art using paint markers, but did you know that you can make art using all kinds of materials? To demonstrate this, me and my friends are going to do a puppet show about one very famous artist and the special way that he made his art using special objects. For the puppet show presentation part of the program, I unfortunately do not have the book or materials readily available to me, so I will have to describe it instead of show it to you. The puppet show would be based on the text of the book Henri's Scissors by Jeanette Winter. It does not necessarily have to be a direct word-for-word copying of the book, but it should follow it to some extent, as the book is very simple and provides a clear plot line that children will be easily able to follow. This book is significant because it follows the life of famous artist Henri Matisse, as he learns how to create art in new ways after he no longer can paint and draw. He learns how to make art by cutting up large pieces of paper, something the children will be mimicking in their later activities. This teaches children to adapt and overcome obstacles in life and in art, and to always think creatively when approaching new problems. The puppets for this puppet show could be the sort of mass-produced felt one people typically think of for library puppet shows. But I think making paper puppets out of construction paper and cardstock that mimic Henri Matisse's art would be very engaging and help show the children the kind of art that can be made with just paper and not markers or paints or the other things they may think of as being necessary for art. After the puppet show is complete, Introduce the next art activity with an aside, such as the one that follows. Isn't it neat how Henri Matisse found new ways to create art after he couldn't paint anymore? Now we're going to find our own ways to create art, and we have lots of supplies and materials for you to work with. So let's get started and start creating. For the final art activity, have tables set up with various art supply stations that the children can use freely. These art supplies can include things like construction paper, safety scissors, glue, pencils and markers, and any other materials that you may think the children could find inspiring. Encourage the children to think freely about what they are creating, but encourage them to connect it back to the reading by using paper and scissors like Henri Matisse, being sure to use appropriate supervision when the children are using the safety scissors, but encourage them to cut out wild shapes and glue them down on paper to create collages. Old magazines and even old books can also make really fun materials for collages for the children to make. Do not restrict the children, though, if they wish to go beyond the typical flat paper collages and want to add things like pipe cleaners or draw on it with the markers. No matter what, encourage the children to create actively and to be proud of their creations, even if it doesn't look good or to look like the other children's art. And no matter what, make sure all the children sign their art, just like Vashti's teacher made her sign her art in the book The Dot that you read to them earlier. Overall, this should be a very rewarding activity for the children that gets them excited about art. Once they have that excitement, guide them towards a table or display where you have set up a number of age-appropriate books on art, artists, and creativity that they can maybe check out after they leave the program today. For the written version of this program plan, click on the link in the description. Thank you for watching.